In what raises questions of conflict of interest related to the market regulator, the US-based Hindenburg Research on Saturday alleged that it suspects SEBI's unwillingness to take meaningful action against suspect offshore shareholders in the Adani Group may stem from SEBI chairperson Madhabi Booth's complicity in using the exact same funds used by Vinod Adani, brother of Gautam Adani. Madhabi Puri Booth became a whole-time member in the Securities and Exchange Board of India in 2017 and its chairperson in March 2022. This report by Hindenburg Research comes almost 18 months after it had first kicked up a political storm in January 2023, alleging the Adani Group of brazen stock market manipulation and accounting fraud. The Port to Energy conglomerate had denied all these allegations. The Supreme Court had rejected the demand for a CBI or court-monitored probe. Continuing with the saga and quoting whistleblower documents, Hindenburg Research has now claimed that the SEBI chairperson had stake in obscure offshore entities used in the Adani money siphoning scandal. To date, SEBI has taken no action against other suspect Adani shareholders operated by Indian Infoline EM Resurgent Fund and Emerging India Focus Funds, it alleged. After taking stock of the devastation in landslide hit Wayanad on Saturday, Prime Minister Modi promised complete support to Kerala government's rehabilitation efforts and that working together would lead to good results. Modi spent the day taking an aerial review of the area, walking along a completely flattened village, speaking to survivors and holding review meetings with the Kerala government. The landslides killed at least 229 people while 130 are still missing and presumed dead. Modi landed in Kannur airport at 11 am and flew to Wayanad by an Air Force helicopter, which then took him to an aerial tour of the landslide hit Mepadi Panchayat. Accompanied by Kerala Governor Arif Mohammad Khan, Chief Minister Pinari Vijayan and Union Minister of State Two soldiers were killed and another injured in a gunfight with militants in the forest of South Kashmir's Anantnag district Saturday, police sources said. The latest in a series of incidents ahead of the assembly polls expected by the end of September. Two civilians were also injured in the encounter, which erupted after a joint team of the J&K police and the army launched a search operation in the dense mountainous forest of Ahlan Gadol area of Kokernag, which connects the Kashmir Valley to Kishtwar in Jammu division. While the Srinagar-based Chinar Corps said 2 soldiers and 2 civilians were injured in the gunfight and were evacuated for treatment, a senior police officer told 3 soldiers were wounded, of whom 2 succumbed. Lauding the very small but active Indian community in Timor-Leste as a living bridge for its role in improving bilateral relations, President Draupadi Murmu announced that India will soon open its embassy, while Timor-Leste will also establish a resident mission in New Delhi soon. President Murmu, who is on the first ever presidential visit from India to Timor-Leste, arrived in Timor-Leste capital Dili Saturday, addressing the Indian diaspora in the Southeast Asian nation. Underscoring the importance of the Indian origin or Indian, she said, "You have merged with the local host country very well." Murmu was also accorded with the Grand Collar of the Order of Timor-Leste, the country's highest honor, from her counterpart Jose Ramosa, and for her achievements in public service and dedication to education, social welfare and women empowerment. President Murmu, during her interaction with her counterpart, also emphasized that India considers the whole world as a family and that Indians are accepted by the whole world because of their hard work and trustworthiness. When asked about how India remains united despite being as diverse, President Murmu said, "The country believes in unity in diversity and people respect our strong constitution as well as the elected representatives." At the ASEAN Indian Summit in Jakarta on September 7, 2023, PM Modi announced the decision to establish an embassy in Delhi as part of the country's effort to boost ties with the 10-member regional grouping At present, people going from Timor-Leste to India have to get a visa from Indian Embassy in Indonesia. No CCTV over coverage is sensitive areas, tout rackets, no proper restrooms for on-call doctors and no screening for outsiders entering at night. The doctors protesting the rape and murder of their colleague have alleged that these factors form an unsafe environment at one of the West Bengal's biggest medical colleges spread over 26 acres in Calcutta. The seminar room at the emergency building where the doctor's body was found has no CCTV coverage, the protesters alleged. Neither the corridor or wards on the floors have any CCTVs, they added. Only the main gate of the building has CCTV. Most CCTVs you see are non-functional. There is no quick response team, alleged Subhendu Mulik, a senior resident doctor at NRS Hospital who worked at the RG Kar. Till recently, hospital authorities were unavailable for comment on this as well as their other allegations. Flagging alleged attacks on engineers and contractors working in Punjab, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has warned CM Bhagwant Mann that the state-owned NHAI will have no other option but to cancel and terminate 8 highway projects with total length of 293 km costing rupees 14,000 crore if the law and order situation does not improve in the state. Gadkari in a letter to Mann said he has been informed about 2 recent incidents on the Delhi-Katra Expressway project. In one incident in Jalandhar district, the engineer of the contractor was brutally assaulted. Although an FIR has been registered in this regard, strong action is required to be taken. Gadkari wrote in the letter dated August 9. The minister pointed out another incident in Ludhiana district where the project camp of the contractor of Delhi-Katra Expressway was attacked by miscreants and also engineers were threatened that the project camp and staff will burnt alive. However, FIR has still not been filed and miscreants have not been arrested despite written request by NHAI officials, he said. Gadkari said if the situation does not improve, NHAI will have no other option but to cancel or terminate 8 severely affected projects with long total length of 293 km costing rupees 14,000 crore. These are mainly greenfield corridors and even cancelling one package will render the entire corridor useless. The minister also attached photos of assault in his communication to the CM. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar Saturday met Maldives President Mohammad Muizzu and other top leaders and assured that the New Delhi attached top priority to its multifaceted relationship with Malay and was determined to further its developmental cooperation with the country. Jaishankar's visit to the Maldives is the first high-level trip from New Delhi after the island nation's pro-China President Muizzu assumed office in November last year. The visit is an opportunity to take stock of what our countries have achieved together as well as to chart out an aspirational blueprint for the coming years of what we are confident will be a truly multifaceted partnership, Jaishankar said after talks with his Maldivian counterpart Moza Zamir. Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud Saturday said the transition to artificial intelligence would augment efficiency without impacting the foundational skills of the legal profession and emphasized strengthening infrastructure in the courts to deal with pendency in cases. He said modern technology like AI was being used to translate court verdicts in regional languages. I believe the transition to artificial intelligence will mirror the earlier embrace of technology by lawyers. It will augment efficiency without impacting the foundational skills of our professions. He was addressing the inaugural session of the 2-day National Conference on the Landscape of Technology in Courts in India and the Way Forward at the Chandigarh Judicial Academy in Sector 43. Justice Chandrachud said sophisticated legal augmentation continues to remain in the exclusive realm of human lawyers. However, several routine tasks such as case law research, filing pleadings, reviewing contracts, and conducting due diligence can deeply benefit from artificial intelligence and automation. Relegating such tasks to artificial intelligence leaves lawyers with more time and bandwidth. They can focus on high value activities such as legal strategy, innovative argumentation, and personalized client service. Begum Sheikh Hasina was first elected in 1996. She was re-elected in 2008, 14, 19 and 24. The opposition parties boycotted the last election. The 24 elections' freeness and fairness have been seriously doubted by well-informed persons and governments. India decided that being politically correct was the better part of principles. On July 4, 1776, 13 states of America declared their independence. More than 200 years have elapsed since the French Revolution. Australia was the first colony to become free from the British Empire in 1901. India won its independence in 1947. The US, France and Australia are still independent and democratic. Not all countries that became free from the colonial power are still free in the sense that their citizens enjoy human freedom and are able to elect a government of their choice in a free and fair election. According to one of the estimates, only 20% of the world's population live under freedom. Happily, Indians are among them. Democracy is not a given. Pakistan became free on August 14, 1947 but came under military dictatorship several times. Our neighbor Bangladesh, with then a province of Pakistan, was under the heel of a military dictatorship that ruled Pakistan. A guerrilla movement gained strength and became a struggle for freedom. India intervened and Bangladesh became an independent country in 1971. But between 1975 and 1991 there were several military rulers. The two main political parties, Awami League and Bangladesh National Party, joined hands to depose the military rule and a civilian government took office in 1991. Begum Sheikh Hasina was first elected in 1996. She was re-elected in 8, 14, 19 and 24. The opposition parties boycotted the last election. The 24 elections' freeness and fairness have been seriously doubted by well-informed persons and governments. India decided that being politically correct was the better parts of principles. Under Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh has recorded notable economic progress. Its per capita income is higher than India's as well as that of other South Asian countries such as Sri Lanka, Pakistan and Nepal. On the Human Development Index, Bangladesh rank is next only to Sri Lanka's and its rank higher than India. Nepal and Pakistan. Bangladesh has reduced its IMR to 21 to 22, while India's is 27 to 28. Only Sri Lanka's IMR is lower than 7 to 8. Side by side, the Freedom House has castigated Bangladesh's poor record on elections, on the state of the media, on the independence of the judiciary and on the personal freedom of citizens. Rulers think that economic progress will prevail over the decline of democracy or rising dissatisfaction over unemployment, inequality and discrimination, but that is seldom true. In Bangladesh, the dam burst on the flood of opposition to what is in the perception of the students was a biased and nepotic reservation policy in government jobs. Meanwhile, the momentum of economic growth slowed down, prices increased and jobs were scarce. Sheikh Hasina's government was in a denial, the common fault of autocrats. The trigger was on the reservation policy, but the protesters soon included other perennial grievances such as corruption, police brutality and judicial passivity. It is a familiar story. Street demonstrations do not invariably succeed. Such protests have indeed toppled governments. For example, Sri Lanka's, on the contrary, the Arab Spring that seemed to have succeeded when Hosni Mubarak was forced to quit ultimately failed when another military rule assumed power, ousting an elected president. Mass protests take place when most of the people completely lose hope. Then a government can be changed through a fair election. When that route is shut in election after election, the flood of opposition will swell and the dam will burst. The architecture and rules of the new parliament segregate not just journalists from MPs whom they are expected to report own but also Rajya Sabha MPs from Lok Sabha MPs and former MPs from sitting MPs. The absence of central hall, hitherto the common meeting place, has been much written about. What is unusual is the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha members have separate cafeterias. When a former TMC MP recently secured a one-day pass for the new building, he was informed it did not permit him to enter the MP's lounge to meet his friend. The TMC was allotted a party office in the new building, but its access was through the bewildering maze of corridors. So the TMC decided to retain its previous office in the old building. Photographers and TV journalists other than official and agency media, once permitted to stand near the Makar Dawar entrance, have now been restricted to a glass caboose-like cabin over 220 meters from the building, making it nearly impossible to have any contact with MPs entering Parliament. The Congress is riding high on Rahul Gandhi's impressive new image ever since his strenuous yatras displaying vim and vigor. Gandhi has attracted many more supporters, particularly youth. There was a time when senior functionaries in Rahul Gandhi's team had no permission to disturb him between 10 to 11, even when they wanted to consult him about issuing an urgent press statement. But recently his staff was pleasantly taken aback when Gandhi tweeted at 1:52 am that he feared an ED raid. Ever since he finally accepted the position of leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha, the Congress presumes that Gandhi is the PM in waiting who will take charge in the eventuality of an India majority. But not all allies are convinced of Gandhi's suitability. Mamata Banerjee has made her separatism known, but surprisingly SP's Akhilesh Yadav also indicated that the choice was still open. When asked recently by a TV anchor about possible names of a shadow cabinet, Akhilesh said, "What about proposals for a shadow prime minister?" Out of this shadow, Mohan Yadav, the new CM of Madhya Pradesh, has large shoes to fill. The little-known legislator was picked last year to replace Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the longest-serving CM in the state, who is credited with dramatically uplifting MP's economy. Understandably, Yadav is keen to shed his anonymous image. On his PR team is overdrive to promote him on social media and liberally offer local journalists interviews, although normally an interview with the CM is considered a special privilege granted only to a few. Yadav's PhD topic as a student at the Ujjain University was media coverage of Chauhan's achievements. Interestingly, when Chauhan first returned to Bhopal after being sworn in as Agriculture Minister in Delhi, his followers arranged a grand reception, preceded by a train journey from Delhi to Bhopal, where he was cheered at stations along the route. However, the local unit of the BJP put a spanner in the works by declaring that the facilitation ceremony in Bhopal should not be just for Chauhan, whose national profile has increased considerably of late, but for all MP ministers serving in Delhi. On the day of the reception, the function was cancelled on the pretext that the wife of former minister who was unconnected with the reception had passed away. Poll strategist Naresh Arora of Design Box, whose previous clients have included Congressman DK Shivkumar and Ashok Gehlot, was hired last month by NCP's Ajit Pawar for Maharashtra Assembly elections, which are just months away. Arora has advised Ajit for the need of a makeover in the united NCP. Ajit was perceived as a key organizer who liaised where the cadre and elected representatives, while his uncle Sharad Pawar was the public face. Since Ajit will now be seeking votes in his own name, his strategist has suggested that he project a softer, brighter and less abrasive image. For starters, the Ajit-led NCP should have a distinctive color in the contrast to the Shiv Sena's orange, the BJP saffron and the NCP and Congress white with a tricolor. Design Box recommended pink, and lately Ajit is seen wearing only pink jackets and his posters have a pink or mayo background with specks of yellow. Ajit has increased his presence on social media and a video on him attracted over 8 million views. He also started yatras through his strongholds in Maharashtra. His party is keen to project a more woman-friendly persona, and as in Karnataka, Maharashtra has started a scheme Majhi Ladki Bahin, which provides rupees 1500 as well as 3 LPG cylinders refills for women. Despite combating serious anti-incumbency, his MLAs have not deserted Ajit yet. An Israeli airstrike on a Gaza City school compound housing displaced Palestinian families, killed around 100 people, the Gaza Civil Emergency Service said on Saturday. Israel said around 20 militants had been operating at the compound. Video from the site showed body parts scattered around and more bodies being carried away and covered in blankets on the floor. Empty food tins lay in a puddle of blood, and burnt mattresses and a child's doll lay among the debris. In another video, men prayed over a dozen bodies, bags laid on the ground of the Tabin school complex. The Territory Civil Emergency Service, which has an incredible record in stating casualty numbers, and the Hamas-run government media office said in separate statement that the complex had been attacked as its occupants were performing dawn prayers. So far, there are more than 93 martyrs, including 11 children and 6 women. There are unidentified remains, Palestinian civil defense spokesperson told a televised press conference. Vice President Kamala Harris drew on her prosecutorial background to make her first expensive speech on immigration to border state voters as she and her new running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, attracted thousands to a campaign rally in Arizona. During their tour of battleground states, Harris, a former Attorney General of California, reminded the crowd that she has a law enforcement official targeted drug cartels and smugglers. Wrestler Vinesh Phogat is likely to know whether she will be awarded a silver medal or not only on Tuesday, 2 days after the end of the Paris Olympics. This after the Court of Arbitration for Sport extended timeline 6 p.m. Paris time on August 13 to come to a decision on the wrestler's appeal. It was the second time on Saturdays that the sports court sought more time to arrive at a decision. Phogat has challenged her disqualification after she failed to make the weight for her 50-kilogram final against USA Sarah last Wednesday. The Indian wrestler was found 100 grams overweight on the morning of the final and was subsequently disqualified from the competition. Earlier in the day, the president of the CAS ad hoc division extended the time limit and the panel to give a verdict until 6 p.m. on Saturday. Minutes after the deadline, the Indian Olympics Association said in a brief statement that an extension of another 2 days was made. The ad hoc division of CAS has extended time till 6 p.m. on August 13 for sole arbitrator in the Vinesh Phogat vs United World Wrestling and the International Olympics Committee to issue a decision. The reasoned order will be issued at a late date, the IO said. The hearing in the case took place on Friday. As per the CAS rules, the ad hoc panel shall give a decision within 24 hours of the lodging of the application. In exceptional cases, this time limit may be extended by the president of the ad hoc division if circumstances so require. Dismayed and heartbroken at the turn of the events and her dreams of a gold medal shattered, Phogat subsequently announced her retirement from the sport. Even as the wait continued for the decision, Beijing Olympics gold medalist Abhinav Bindra termed her disqualification from the Paris Games on the morning of the 50 kg final as the most brutal day in the history of Indian sport. Bindra, who received the IOC's Olympic Order Award during the session on Saturday, told the Indian Express he felt like throwing up after learning about Phogat's disqualification from the games. It was a very brutal day. I wanted to vomit. Early in the morning, somebody sent me a message. Frankly, I had no idea what was going on. It was crazy, Bindra said. Bindra acknowledged that from a sports perspective, it is governed by rules and regulations. I am referring to the human side. She has gone through a tough time over the course of the last year and a half. To come back, qualify for the games and come up with this performance, incredible. To have misfortunate, bad luck, sport as life can be brutal, and I think it was perhaps the most brutal day of the Indian sport in our history. I don't think there could be anything that could even come close, he added. As Algeria's Imen Khalif began her quest for a dream Olympic gold, little did she know that during the course of that journey her life would change. On Friday, in the background of a fortnight-long over who she is and what she represents, the shrillness of the polarized online outrage was replaced by the roars of the Algerian diaspora in France that made themselves known in a 15,000-strong crowd at Court Philippe Chartier at Roald as Khalif stormed past China's Zhang Lu to win the women's 66 kg boxing gold. Aman Shehrawat would be the only Indian wrestler to pick up a medal from the Paris Olympic after women's 76 kg grappler Geetika Huda failed to go past the quarterfinals of her category, finishing at the wrong end of a 1-1 bout against two-time World Championship medalist Apera Medvetkezi of the Kyrgyz Republic on Saturday. Kyrgyz later lost her semi-final to USA's Kennedy Blades, keeping Huda out of the repechage rounds. Huda's exit from the 76 kg competition meant that India's medal count at the Paris Olympics stood at 6, a number that could go up or stay at the same depending upon the Court of Arbitration for Sport's decision on Vinesh Phogat's appeal for a shared silver medal. At 21, Huda came into her maiden Olympics as a wildcard of sorts. She had beaten Blades only last year of the Under-23 World Championship crown but was unseeded at the Olympics, a dangerous proposition for many seeded wrestlers. Once the draw came out, it became clear that she would have to go through one of the best wrestlers in the 76 kg category to medal in Paris.